Welcome back. We are back for part 3 of the quilt that we have been working on. I hope you guys are working on it with me. This was the one that we were working on, the squares like this. Of course, I need to press them again. But these are the squares, and what we're going to do is start putting them together. Now, I did mine a little bigger because I wanted my quilt bigger, but the pattern itself called for 4 blocks across, 5 blocks down. That would be 20 blocks. I wanted 5 across and 6 down, so that's 30 blocks. So I have made 30 pieces like this, which did require obviously a little more fabric, but not too much. So we have made 30 of these, and now we are ready to sew them together. So what you're going to need to get first is your strips that you remember in the beginning we cut some 2.5 by 12.5 inch strips. That's what we're going to need right now. So we're going to take these and these and go down to the sewing machine. What I do to start with is I take 5 of these only because my row is 5 across. If yours is 4 across, then you'll take 4 of these. And we pull them aside. So these are my 5 that I've picked. The main thing I'm doing is, these are all going to be scrappy different fabrics. But the center, I don't want all my golds together. I don't want all my mints together. I don't want all my blues together. So what I've done is I've pretty much picked 1 of each color, maybe 2 of each. And if I've done 2 of each, like I did on this one for the gold, then I'm going to put 1 on one end and 1 on another, or at least split them up some. So I'm going to put them to the side, take my first one, and because it's 5 blocks across and this outside row all the way up and down the quilt, I can do 1 long strip. There's no sense in cutting 12.5 strips and then sew them all together. So I'm going to do 1 big strip. So ignore this side right now. Come over to the right side of it. Take a strip that's the same size, which is the 2.5 by 12.5. We're going to lay it here on the side of this block, and we're going to stitch right down here at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'll stitch all the way down the side. Make sure it stays lined up. You can pin it if that's easier for you. Once I get done with that, I will cut my thread, iron this open, and then I'll take my next block. Let me go ahead and iron this one open. Okay, I've ironed it open. Now you can iron them all at the end if you want to do that. I'm going to iron these as I go along. I'm going to take my next block and I'm going to lay it like this, but I'm going to put it right sides together on this block, this strip that we just sewed. And then I will sew it a 1/4 inch down the same side, on the right side. Just make sure they stay lined up. Or pin them. Again, if that's easier for you, then pin them. Then I'm going to iron it back open again. I'm going to do the same thing with another strip down this next side. Keep it lined up. Cut my thread and iron it open. So I've got 2 already sewn. I'm going to take my next block. I'm going to do the same thing we just did. But when I get to the 5th block, I'm not going to do one on the right side for the same reason that we didn't do this side, because on the left and the right side all the way down that quilt, we can do 1 long strip, so there's no sense in sewing little strips all the way down it. So I'm going to keep doing this until I get 5 across and 6 rows like this made. Then we'll come back and we'll put those rows together. So keep doing this with me. And we'll work on it together. I now have my rows all complete. So I've got one with no sashing on the end down here. Then I've got block 2, I've got block 3, block 4, and block 5. And notice none on this end. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take the sashing. If you remember in the beginning we did 2.5-inch strips by width of fabric. We're going to take those. I'm going to set this to the side. We're going to take these and sew them end to end to make one long strip. Now I added extra blocks on mine to make it bigger, so I'm going to need extra strips, which I've already cut. I'm going to take 2 strips. Let me take you down to the sewing machine again and show you what I'm doing. I'm going to take 2 strips and I'm going to lay them like this. Now I've got my selvage still on here, so I'm just going to overlap it so I don't have to worry about it. Then I'm going to stitch from this corner to this corner, diagonally across from here to here. If it's easier for you to pin it, then pin it. But you'll line the ends of these up and then stitch diagonally. Then I'm going to cut about 1/4 inch away from that seam allowance right there. And when I open it, I've got that right there. You could sew them end to end just straight across, but this makes for a stronger seam, so that's the way I do it. Then I'm going to take my next one and I'm going to do the same thing. It's just like we're making binding. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to lay it like that. One goes this way, one goes this way. Stitch diagonally across here. Cut my thread. And then cut about 1/4 inch away from that seam allowance. So again, I have that seam. I'm going to do that with all of these strips. And then I'll come back and we'll start sewing our sashing on. So stay tuned and keep up. Keep doing what you're doing along with me. And we'll have finished quilts before we know it. We now have our rows sewn together in rows. So there's 5. For my case, there's 5 blocks across with sashing in between them, but not on the ends. Now we're going to go down to the table and I'm going to show you how to put the sashing strip, that long piece that we sewed all together, we're going to put those in between our rows. To start with, I'm going to take this row that I sewed together and I'm going to fold it in half. And when I fold it in half, I'm going to find that center point, which is right here. So I'm going to put a pin right where that center point is. You can crease it or you can put a pin. I've got a pin. Then I've cut my strip to the same length as my row here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to find the center of it by laying it like this in half. Finding the centerpiece of that, creasing it, and putting a pin here. So that now I know that's my center mark of my row. Then I'm going to take my row, I'll get all this out of my way, and I'm going to open it back up and find that pin, which is right here. Then I'm going to open this one up, make sure that I've got it right sides together. So this is the wrong side of it. I'm going to match those pins up. Then I'm going to take one out and I'm just going to pin it, both of them together. Then I'm going to work my way to one side. Doesn't matter if you go left or right, but you'll work to one side, pinning it all the way down. If you start in the middle and go out like we're doing here, it causes less ripple in the fabric when you're putting it together. So I'm just going to pin it all the way out. And it should meet the edges. And it does on that side. Then I'm going to pull it back and I'm going to go the opposite way. So I'll take this side and pin to the right now. Pin it. Keep going until I get to the end of this row. And then once I am done pinning it, we're just going to stitch all the way down this row. So we'll take it to the sewing machine and we'll sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance, taking the pins out as we get there, rethreading our thread when the thread comes out. Okay, let's try that again. Start from the end, do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. When I get to the end, I'll cut my thread. And then we'll see that we've got this one sashing done. We're going to do this to all the rows, sewing them together. I've already done some to show you what I'm talking about. So let me pull that up. I've already got some other rows sewn together. So now I'll show you what we do now. We take this row that we just sewed this sashing on. You could iron it open right now, but I iron it when I get to this next step instead. And then I only have to iron it one time because I've got to iron this side and I've got to iron this side. So if I do it at the time when I've already sewn this side too, then it's just one sew down the strip rather than two. So I'm going to take this one and flip it over right sides together on this one, pin it on the end, and then I'm going to go to the next sashing. So that cream strip right here that we put in here, that's the sashing. I'm going to find my sashing on this side and find my sashing on this side and line them up. So see, now they're lined up. I'm just going to kind of roll them up till I get to the top. so that I know it's lined up straight. Then I'm gonna pin right there. That should be flat right there, and it is. So we're gonna go to the next one. I'll find this sashing here, find this sashing here, line them up, see where I'm rolling them just a little bit at a time. And we'll keep rolling. And then right there should match up so that when I open this up, my sashings will be straight down. This should be flat again, and it is. If I pin the whole thing across here, you'll see it's flat. There you go. Now we're going to go to the next one. And then I'm going to find my sashings, roll them up, make sure they're lined up, pin it at the top. I have one more. Line up my sashings, roll it till I get to the top. And then my ends should line up. Line those up. And then when I lay it flat, this will lay flat. So now I'm going to take it and stitch this whole side all the way down just like we did a minute ago. I'll sew it on, and then we're going to do one between each row that we had made like this. So I'll sew this on and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Now we've got our top together. I've sewn all my rows with my sashing in between them. The whole top is done except for the borders. So we're going to take what's left of this sashing that we'd already cut, and we're going to measure the sides and the top and the bottom as well. The same way we did these sashing strips, well actually these sashing strips across here, we're going to do across the top, bottom, side, and side. It doesn't matter which way you start, on the sides or on the top and the bottom, but start one or the other. So I'm going to do mine top and bottom, and when I get top and bottom done, then I'll go back and put my left and my right sides on. I'm going to do those the same way I did this sashing, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like finished. But I'll measure these strips out to the width of the quilt. I'll sew my top and my bottom on. Then I'll measure it again, length on both sides, and I'll measure those strips, and then I'll sew them on just like we did this strip. Then I'll be back. I've got the top finished. I've got the border all the way around it, all the way to the top, then all the way over here. I've got to iron it again, but I do that from the long arm, so I'm not going to do that right now. I think I am going to add another border. Just like we added this cream border over here, I'm going to add another one of a print that goes with this line to make it a little bit bigger because I wanted it to drape over the bed a little more. So that's it. That's how you do this quilt. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. I hope you make it with me. Well, I went ahead and did it. I went ahead and added that border. So I did a 4.5 inch border all the way around it. I need to go back and iron it because you can see it's not ironed right now. But what I do is I get it to this state, and when I put it up on the long arm, that's when I iron it with a special iron. So it's a whole lot easier up on the long arm than it is on an ironing board. So that's what I will do next, and hopefully before long I will have it quilted and show it to you. So that's it. So that's all there is to making this quilt. I hope you guys are going to make it too, and send me some pictures and let me see what yours looks like. I enjoyed it. I hope you did. And well, now we're on to another project. You guys have a great rest of your day, a great day tomorrow. Enjoy what you're doing. Get in those sewing rooms and be creative. And well, happy quilting.